Okay,
hey folks, this is Dr. Kat Schreier, your host here at the Water Show, founder of Water Citizen Media Foundation, 501c3 fiscally sponsored program of United Charitable 501c3 public charity. But we are here at the City of Los Angeles Department of Public Works at with the heads of the Watershed Division and folks that we have been spending some time with here in LA to look at some fabulous programs that they've got, projects that are underway and already transforming community in South LA. Before we go, I want to introduce, got a couple of guests here. Why don't you come in real close, and I'll just slide this around. And you want to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, Shuram Karagani, the Watershed Keeper for City of Los Angeles. Welcome everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Kat, for inviting the City of Angels to participate in this program. We are very pleased that you are here and we could share our experiences with you.
Thank you so much for having us. And this is really a fabulous opportunity to let people know what's really going on. We're going to have some slides from the videos that we captured while we were touring the park, as well as have a couple of folks who took us on the tours. But there's a lot of really interesting things going on with the Green Infrastructure Project. And I wanted to share real quick that we've heard about this project for quite some time through the work, some discussions that we've had with Adele Hadjikil, who's also very active with National Association of Clean Water Agencies, and here you see him at the Water Environment Federation Technical Exposition and Conference, WEFTEC, largest water conference, and he sat down and spoke with us about how important it is that the water projects are buried no more, that they're getting out there and being seen. And part of what we do here at Water Citizen is make sure not only are the projects seen, but the people who are involved with those projects are seen and heard from, because they are so passionate about water. And of course, today we're here on the Water Show. We also have here with us Wing Tam, who we met at Water Week out in Washington, D.C. With Adele, and we mentioned that we were going to be coming out here, and Wing, Adele said, you got to talk to Wing, got to have Wing show us what's going on. So you want to hold up your there we go, we got this is our little nameplate here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm Wing Tam. I'm the Assistant Division Manager, and I oversee the Green Infrastructure Program. Yes, and when I met with Dr. Kat at Water Week, I saw her, she was so excited about this kind of show. So gladly we would love to participate and show her what we have been doing in CLA. It's an exciting time for us, exciting time for everyone to show exactly what we're doing to have wide open space and everything else that we have. So.
Absolutely. And these gentlemen are going to be taking off fairly soon to get back to taking care of the watershed for the city. And a couple of other folks from their team who were on the tour with us are going to be walking us through what we saw out there and what the benefits are. But thank you, gentlemen, so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Dr. Choi. I appreciate that again. Thank you for coming here and sharing the experience of City of LA with our other folks that have the same common goals. Thank you.
Yep. And we are going to be able to have this show is online. It's live now. We're also going to have it's going to be up for the entire week, as well as available on YouTube and eventually on iTunes. And you'll be able to click below to keep up with more information, as well as fill in the comments below. And if you have any questions, feel free to check those out. These guys will be able to answer those later.
I just want to add just a real brief couple minutes, kind of give you an overview of what we've been doing in CLA. Just from experience I have for a number of years, and what we're approaching as part of the Water Week, we're finding out water is actually a very valuable kind of commodity. It drives the economics, drives the environment, it drives the integration part of it. So what you're going to see is that, if we get into detail with some of the staff, is that we have a number of infrastructure projects that manage water. Stormwater being a primary goal here today, but we have lots of what we call distributed type of projects. You can see Green Alley, Green Street, but also we have regional wetland type of project that also looks at how we manage water. And reason why we look at this in a holistic way is to provide lots of benefit from improving water quality, water supply, flooding, open space, and habitat. So those are the key metrics that we're looking at in terms of how we want to manage water in the city of LA. By having this green infrastructure, I think we're pursuing a route that not every entity may or may not be able to do. But from our point of view, it provides a place for people, benefits community, how they want to be able to look at. Maybe community looking at our South LA wetlands as a benefit in terms of how they walk in and around the area. But for us, it's the water, cleaning it up and reusing that water. And you can see some of that in our Green Alley. So that's why I want to kind of prelude that a little bit when you get into the detail.
And it really, I mean, this is what we'd really like to be able to get into, not so much on the technical side. And by the way, we also have with us the Trust for Public Lands. Natalia is here. She's looking at us on a different screen, but she could also look at the camera on here. Hi, Natalia. That there has been this tremendous partnership with the nonprofits in the region, and there has been this opportunity to really integrate the projects into the community, and
good thing you mentioned that, because that's actually part of our third leg in terms of how we integrate. It's not just about integrating the different features. We also have a non-traditional partners to assist us in moving forward a lot of these projects, because we could do it the traditional way. City agencies just build it and put it out there, but then by promoting this integration with community partners, it provides us a forum to work with the partners, especially nonprofit partners, so that they could help with the community in how we implement and how we operate, maintain all the different project elements we have as part of the community. Yeah. So that's something that's important to us also, is that community or that partnership.
Absolutely.
So I hate to do this, but I'm kind of...
I know you got to run. Yeah, I just threw up some of the photos that we're going to talk about later that really show how much the community is actually using already the projects that have gone in place. They're out in the parks, or they're appreciating the differences in the alley, and it really was very helpful to have a chance to see that. So we're going to walk through this, some of the projects that they have in place. And if anyone has any questions, go ahead and type them below. So thank you so much, Wayne, for stopping by. And
thank you very much, Dr. Shaw.
Thank you. So we'll get the second team in, and so let's go ahead and get started on talking about some of the projects that are out there. And Natalia, do you want to give a quick introduction while we're getting set up here? Can you hear us? Can we hear you? So
sorry, I'm going to unmute the phone.
Yes. So and actually, this is part of the improvisation of online media. And by the way, we're here. I know it looks very ethereal with the white background. I think I amped up the brightness a little too much, but we're actually in one of the conference rooms at City of Los Angeles, just off of a laptop, using YouTube and embedded into our water show site. And Natalia is calling in from her office. So this way we're really able to bring people together from all over the place, and we've had shows with folks from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. But right now we're talking to Natalia from Trust for Public Land. So tell us a little bit about Trust for Public Land and what it is and what how they've been involved with this project with green infrastructure in South LA.
Trust for Public Land has been around for over 4 years. We're a nationwide nonprofit.
Oh, hang on 1 second. Sounds like you've got something on because we've got an echo. Oh, you know what? I will mute. Hang on. I think I can mute this for you. I don't want to miss any of what you have to say. So, there we go. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, does that sound better?
Yes.
Okay, so the Trust for Public Land is a national nonprofit, and we have been around for over 40 years, and we work with land conservation and water conservation, and also building parks and open space for people in urban areas and in rural areas. So one of our programs that we work on is Common Smart Cities, where we focus on cool, protect, absorb, and reducing heat island effect. That's part of the COOL program. So what putting in the Avalon Green Alleys is part of our initiative with working at Climate Smart Cities. And so we're able to infiltrate groundwater and absorb water and save water. We're also planting vines in the alleys and trees, and we're reducing the urban heat island effect. We're changing the pavement materials from what was before asphalt and dark colored pavements. We're putting lighter colored pavements and removable pavement. And then we're also protecting the area where we are cleaning the water before it gets absorbed and protecting our water source so that we don't have dirty water going to the LA River. And then we're also connecting the communities. We're using the alleys now as an open space infrastructure for the community so that they can get to the schools that are nearby,
Right,
and the
right.
park space, and grocery stores. But using it as an alternative route for people so they can walk and bike safely
Yep.
from one.
And actually, I'm gonna hang on. We're gonna walk through that all the different components of the project. And I did want to introduce Steve and Majid here. But so as far as so when you say we, that includes the city, that includes the various other partners, and so City of LA is overseeing the actual putting things in the ground there and ensuring that all those measures are taken. Now, so Trust for Public Lands, I guess we'll talk a little later about your role specifically in terms of things like the community, the green teams, and some of the activities that we talked about during the tour, right? Okay, great. So, and by the way, for those of you watching, and if you see Natalia's name down twice, we've got another computer up that so she can see on one and she can be seen on the other. So that's why she shows up twice. So let me come back to here in the room, and I'm going to turn if you want to come in, we'll get nice and cozy. Here on my left is Steve Nikato, who is...
Hi, I'm Steve Nikato with the City of LA Sanitation Watershed Protection Program. I work with my staff to implement green infrastructure projects in the City of LA, and we're happy to be here to provide hopefully some interesting news for your viewers.
Absolutely.
Majid Sadeghi with the City of Los Angeles LA Sanitation Watershed Protection Division, and I've been working with Steve and Natalia and many projects in the South LA, especially the Avalon South and North, which is under construction. We should do some pictures.
So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. And so last week when I came into to LA, I actually had come in. I've been working with a group called the Water Bearers, and was going to be at a function with Lord Gisborne's Limitless Women. So it was women business owners who were supporting, doing masterminding about their businesses, as well as supporting a charity called the Water Bearers, which is women providing clean water access to women in villages around the world. We also had Lynn Swift there from who folks might know from the Hunger Project and all of her international work, but she's also working now with a group called Pachamama, which means Mother Earth. And so these are bracelets from her. But when I came into town, we knew that from Water Week, which for those of you who missed that show is when big water organizations from all over the country, water, clean water, drinking water, water research organizations come together to Capitol Hill, and they were in D.C. Not too long ago, which is where I had a chance to catch up with Adele, the deputy director of the Bureau of Sanitation, and let him know that we were going to be here in town. He connected me with Wing, and that's how this all came together. So that Steve picked me up at the airport along with Lily, one of their new students, new hires from
project
UCLA.
assistant, right? Just started, that was her second day on the job.
Her second day on the job, and managed not to lose the name tag and all that good stuff. But yeah, she was really helpful with asking questions and kind of giving a new perspective, as well as Majid, who is very excited about this project. And for those of you who might have seen in the little preview videos, we had a video. He showed us a rain barrel that he made.
Yeah, exactly. It was a rain barrel which I made 4 or 5 years ago, which the concept came up. And
4 or 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Wow, it looks new. So it lasts really well.
Yeah, these things last forever. They last almost 10 years minimum. Without any problems.
So that's one of the things we like to capture with Water Citizens. Is people passionate about water, including people who are working in the water arena, and so often it's not just a 9 to 5 job here.
Exactly. You have to be, and actually I'm wearing blue too, so that's my passion for water.
There you go. And actually I think we even have another photo here of, this is a photo from this weekend was Earth Day. And by the way, I know a lot of folks here are going to be watching in replay, so just the date of today's show is the 25th of April. So last weekend was Earth Day, and there were, gosh, you guys have any idea how many people showed up?
There were several thousand people,
several thousand.
People. Yeah, exactly. They came out, and this was during a hot day in Sun Valley, almost 90 degrees there, and many people came. We had a lot of booth. We had food for the people. We had a lot of ice cream, and people loved the ice cream during the hot.
There's a lot of activities and tree planting and
tree planting and giving away and
it looked like there were a lot of city employees that came in and gave up some of their free time and brought their families and were part of that activity. So let's get back to getting back to the project at hand. We want to talk about this. Let's see. Let's go back to. Let's see if I can pull this back up again. All right. So this is later in the presentation. Here we go. I'm not on my usual computer since we were using the city's computer, and I've got probably a few too many windows up. But what we're looking for here is the slide that shows the overview of. Here we go. Okay, so looking for the slide that shows the overview of. Let's see. Sorry, folks. This will be just a second. I'm gonna close that down. Close that. There we go. Let's see if that pulls it up a little better. Okay. Well, if we can get to it, we've got a slide that shows the overview of the map, and I guess we can just sort of describe what's going on. So basically, and actually, I wanted to back up a bit. For folks, we've got people here from, and we kind of rushed into things because we had some folks that had to leave early. But essentially, what this is about is a project that has been developed, really a significant project in South LA, which I lived in LA briefly during a political campaign many years ago, and I was working with different universities at UCLA and USC and Claremont colleges, and driving all over the city, and I was told, just out of college myself, and was told, don't get off the freeway at these exits. These are just not the greatest place to be driving around. I mean, tell us a little bit about South LA, and what, for people who aren't familiar.
Well, South LA is south of downtown Los Angeles area. It's, I guess, part of one of the neighborhoods. It's considered as a disadvantaged community. Okay. And so what we're trying to do with our projects in this, for example, with this, our Avalon Green Alley Networks, is to try to, as Wing alluded to, try to provide water quality benefits and water supply benefits, and at the same time provide benefits to the community that we hope can improve their quality of life by increasing safety, public amenities, some green space, corridors for them to just move around the community a little easier, a little safer than they might have been before the projects were in. So.
Yeah. And I'm going to see one more time if we can pull up this slideshow. Oh, here we go. Is it coming up? All right. Here's.
Here we go.
All right. So yeah, I think that's. So let's start with. Okay. So there's kind of the prior conditions early in the project. And one of the things that I wasn't able to grab right before we started was I actually have some pictures. The day that we went down there was during a construction meeting, and so the various construction teams that were involved with this were there along with Trust for Public Lands. And there were some sites that we could see actually what goes on underneath these alleys during construction. So that was really cool. We'll try to get that up later. But this image here, which you guys should be able to see, I think, oh, hang on. Let me make sure I'm actually sharing my screen. There we go. So this image here actually shows you a little what's going on, both in terms of just the alleys, and there's this huge network of alleys down there.
Yes.
And so all throughout the streets, there's these alleys, and a lot of people they're using the alleys for getting in and out of the back of the house to some extent, or had been.
Yeah, it depends on the particular alleys. Some have access to their homes, their properties from the back alleys. Others are I guess they access through the front, to get in their homes.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the alleys are in kind of disrepair.
Right, and you can see that people were, putting their trash out there. Probably not the nicest place to walk down the street, especially kids getting to school, getting to the park. And then there was also the fact that just in terms of what happens with stormwater, what happens when it rains. So you can see some ponding that's going on there.
Right. So that would help to increase the deterioration of the alley itself because of just water conditions getting under the pavement.
So basically, the water falls down and it just sits there.
Yeah, it could sit there and just create a nuisance. Long after the storms are gone.
Right.
I wouldn't take advantage of it as a resource.
Yeah, because mostly what people are hearing about California is drought. So, here is a project we're thinking about. Really, and obviously this is California. It's a desert out here, so people need to take care of the water.
We like to say semi-arid.
Semi-arid. Okay. Well, I actually just took the sign down that was behind us because it was distracting. But there's a sign that points out that there's a desert. We'll bring it back later. But so basically, yes, it is. There is drought conditions. It is dry climate, and at the same time, there's significant rainfalls. And what's the rain like in this part of the country when it does rain?
When we were getting rain, we were averaging about 15 inches per year, I think. So not a lot, compared to other parts of the country. I guess more than others.
Right.
I guess more recently during our drought conditions, I think for the last rainfall season that just ended about 2 weeks ago, I think we got maybe 9 inches on the year. I know that a couple of years ago we had 3 or 4 inches. So we've been in I don't know how many years now, 4 or 5 years of one of the worst droughts that we've experienced on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And so water is on everybody's mind. Conserving water trying to make the most of that as a resource is
So when
key for us.
All right. So when we do get stormwater coming into the area, key points that people are trying to say, and these points sort of get thrown out there in a list typically, and I'm not sure people really get a chance to register. But essentially, for one thing, is making sure that the water that does hit the ground is captured and put it to some sort of use before it has a chance to get so dirty it can't be used.
Or to clean. Well, yeah, and when it does hit the ground, after it's traveled over the surface of the streets and other, just our urban environment, to collect it and try to clean it up to the best we can. So before we can either discharge it to our water bodies or to inject it or have it infiltrate into our groundwater supplies and increase our water as a resource there.
So, and actually one of the phenomenal parts of this whole project, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, is this wetland park that is shown down in the lower right corner for those who can see the screen. I know some folks are attending on the podcast, but basically, there's a number of networks of alleys, and then in one part of the region, which was an old abandoned building, and so that area was just all paved.
Yeah, it was just a couple of blocks from our Green Alley network. It was formerly a maintenance yard facility for buses, I believe, right?
For
the railroads, I believe.
Okay.
So historical use, and had been using that for decades, I believe. And so I don't know if we had additional pictures in here that show the condition of the site before we actually started construction. I don't know if we were able to get those for the.
I think that might have been in the other PowerPoint, and I can see if we can still pull that one up. Although I'm kind of. It's kind of reckless that we got the PowerPoint to work as long as we did. Hang on, I know what I have to do. I have to stop sharing, and then go back into the PowerPoint, and then I can move it again. But here we go. Yeah. So one of the things that we're seeing is just how much people were coming up to us during the tour, how much people were actively using certainly the wetland park while we were there. And let's see, yeah, here we go. So I think you can see that. Natalia, can you see the slides with the yeah. So people. So this is right across the street from the school. There was that aeration fountain that we saw earlier. Let's get back to that. You can see the school in the background. Now, that school, that's a gifted and talented magnet school.
I believe so. Yeah, it was like
it's a brand new school. I believe it's a nice school.
Years ago.
So I understand they are doing some programs where they take the kids out to the wetlands and talk about water and the environment and conservation and using wetlands as a means to clean up urban runoff.
And we can actually see, so there's Steve and Lily from back looking at the fountain, which now that actually serves a function in addition to being something nice to sit by and kind of meditate and read, and you can see someone there in one of the photos sitting out right next to the fountain and reading out on the fence. But yeah, Majid, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the purpose is of that fountain?
Exactly, that's basically for the aeration, and as I mentioned I guess when you were out there at the site, there's actually 3 cells for these wetlands.
Right, and you can see those on the sign. So Majid is pointing at the sign that's right there in front of it.
Exactly. So basically, we take the water from when it rains, when it comes in the storm drains, where actually we capture the storm water and we pump it up to the first cell, that's where we do the aeration and we add the fountain for the water to get aerated, and then from here it goes through the first, second, and third cell where the roots and then the plants basically uptake all the pollutant loads, which are mostly bacteria, metals, and everything that comes in the storm drain. And of course, before the water comes into the wetlands, we have a CDS unit, is a hydrodynamic separator. It removes all the trash, sediments, and oil and grease, whatever it could remove. And of course, we have a maintenance, the operation maintenance. Our crew goes out there after, mostly if it's a major event, rain event, they go out there and they clean up. It's hydrodynamic separators, remove all the trash.
Right. So these are really sophisticated treatment facilities.
Yes,
They just happen to look like a park that the kids and we saw, you know, families and mothers stroll with their children out in strollers and whatnot, and people out doing some power walking after work. You know, it's out in the community. Now, how does that work in terms of the effectiveness of the facilities, that there is that much interaction, that it's not some, you know, treatment facility behind some chain link fence hidden in some dark corner of the city?
Well, I think it makes it more tangible. You know, obviously you can see that and see that something that benefits the community, benefits our water quality and our water supply. Doesn't necessarily have to be what you consider like a traditional treatment plant or something that could be a nice park, but there are more layers to it than what you see. The fact that we have a school, several schools in the neighborhood, and I think they're using this as an opportunity, again, to, you know, as part of the curriculum, to help teach their kids about water and water resources and urban runoff. We're trying to get that message out as much as we can to, you know, through various means, through educational programs or outreach materials. But then having these, you know, actual projects that you can go out and visit, I think is you know, wow, it's right there. It's not something that's abstract. It's something real. You can actually walk around and see and hear and feel
and visit and go to every day.
Right.
You know, it's not just like a field trip from school. So this is really part of that whole concept of utility of the future. And you know, that they're hidden no more. The people's pipes are no longer buried and hidden away, that we can actually see and engage with our programs. Now let's and by the way, you know, I want to talk a little bit also about that heat effect. I mean, that's pretty critical in a hot part of the country.
Exactly.
So you know, what does it do in terms of, you know, to have that much green space, to have that, you know, the water, the fountain in the area? What's the temperature difference like versus a paved over area?
Yeah, exactly. Of course, like, you know, especially in the South LA wetlands, imagine if this was just like a little parking lot or like a dirt, and you go running around it, and you know, you notice when you're walking around it, you could feel the coolness coming up from the water and all those different plants that, you know, that have grown. And actually, when this project started 4 or 5 years ago, the plants were very small, and you could see the growth is incredible.
Yeah.
And the coolness you come out there, and it was pretty hot there. We went, it was like almost 85 degrees. And we have the same thing as we are doing, you know, for Avalon South and North, where we're gonna have vines in the alleys. And Natalia can explain more about those. Urban heat effect and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, I want to get back to the alleys now. But just, you know, excuse me, just this idea that that, you know, of all the benefits, and by the way, what we talked about, the cells that you know, that on the diagram it looks like 3 separate cells, but for people walking around, you know, you can walk all the way around the park, or you can cut across the little bridges, like the ones that we saw here. And in fact, we even saw off of the bridge, we were able to see some. Here we go. Share. We were able to see some. We saw some birds. We saw turtles that may not have belonged there, but saw quite a few of those.
Yeah, the turtles I'm not so sure about as being native, but I know there are some blue egrets. Is that what those were? I think we saw some of those. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, and a lot of nesting birds in the area. Yeah. So it's, you know, I think it's really nice. The helianal effect, I don't know what it would measure out at in terms of actual temperature differential, But again, before this thing was, it was a maintenance yard. So it was asphalt, it was maintenance sheds, and it was, I'm sure it was pretty hot. Just walking out there, you could notice and feel a tangible difference of just right when you're within the park area itself, what it was like compared to when we were walking other parts of the area. So
Absolutely.
definitely a big difference.
Well, let's go back to Natalia a bit and talk about the alleys. So, I mean, because that's I mean, the wetland park is really cool, but also, I mean, the alleys are a huge part of this project. Is that whole connection. I'm going to try to get back to that map. So, Natalia, this is the map from the city. If you want to just kind of talk a little bit again about what, let's see if I can get this sort of share here, about what is it that is going on with these alleys, and how do you guys get involved with bringing in the community? How much do they use these alleys? Yeah.
Well, we started working on this project back in 2009, and that was being engaged with the community members, bringing people together to talk to them about health. It's difficult when you come into a community and we bring them an open space or a park space, and that's understandable to them in creating a place for them to use. But when you come into a community and you explain to them that you want to take their alleys to a usable space, sometimes that could be something that they can't imagine at that moment. That who wants to go and play in their alleys and use it as spaces to walk? So we got engaged with the community to explain the project, understand what green alleys are and what potential it can have. We looked at the alleys as a really valuable resource. There's over 900 miles of alleys in Los Angeles, and 300 of those miles are in South LA. So this is a space that can be used to capture our stormwater, green our spaces, cool the environment, but also create spaces for the community members to come together and enjoy. So over the years, we've been engaging them. We've had the community members involved in designing the alleys and getting their input, and also educating them on stormwater management, on cleaning water, how to conserve water, and letting them know what's happening with climate and the issues that we're facing today. And over the years, we've come up with a design together, and we had other community-based input where they created poetry about stormwater that's engraved into the alley. They've also had community design murals, and they help paint the murals, and those are in the alley floor. We're trying to make it a space where it represents the community, something that they've worked on and they're proud of. And they're working on stewardship in the future. They are talking to their other residents about the importance of green alleys and climate change. And they're helping with maintaining the alleys, keeping them clean. We have regular alley cleanup and taking care of the plants, and keeping these as spaces that they would use. So, and now we see people walking in the alleys, doing exercises in the morning, making laps in the alleys, taking their kids out to ride their scooters at night. So now
they have block parties and those sorts of events.
I'm sorry?
Having block parties and those sorts of events, and
yeah, we haven't had a block party yet, but that's something that we want to do, encourage them to use it as block party spaces. Once the other alley, the northern portion of the alley is complete, we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony, everyone will come out, we'll celebrate the space, and that will be kind of our first official block party in the alley. And then the community members there, they've taken this even beyond their own working in the alleys, but they found their voice. And they went to the council, and they were able to get approved a portion of the alleys to be closed to vehicular traffic. It's pedestrian only, and so this is new for this area, where the alley will be more of an open space. We have an infiltration planter down the center, some shade trees. It becomes more of a park-like setting. And the green, they're called Equipo Verde, the group that we've organized in the area. And they have even flown and talked to Sacramento, and they've advocated for these types of spaces to the state legislators. And so they've really made an impact, not just in their own neighborhoods, but now they understand that as a group, they can really make change in the community. So it's been more than just empowering them and just changing one alley space, but what they can do throughout the whole network. In
Nice.
addition to trust public land, we've been working on outside of the alleys. We've planted 150 shade trees along the street. We're putting in more crosswalks and bus stops throughout the area to really make it a connected network. And then we've partnered with the city. We've been working on the design and the construction documents and helping with the construction, and also helped with the city, partnered with them on the funding sources. So it's been a partnership with the city from beginning to end.
Nice. And I'm going to have Majid and Steve talk a little bit about what we're actually seeing in terms of the construction and the differences in the alley. But there's also another nonprofit partner in terms of the monitoring side, correct?
Right.
Yeah, the Council for Watershed Health.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. What's their role within that?
But do you want to talk about the standing out in the rain with the guys waiting?
I know exactly. Yeah, we
samples?
have. Yeah, I guess as TPL and Natalia was mentioning that we're working with also Council for Watershed Health, and they'll be collecting all the samples. Of course, a couple of rain events we went out there, and sometimes the rain comes, 2, 3 in the morning. You have to be out there collecting the first flush coming down the street. And of course, in the Avalon South and also the Avalon North, which is under construction, we have several BMPs. We have
BMPs?
the best management practice, or we call them at that site. The new terminology is called stormwater control measures. So because BMP could be sweeping the floors, that could also be a BMP. But here we have technology to remove all the pollutants, where we have catch basin screens, and we have filters in our special catch basins, and also we have several dry wells at the end. So basically, the way the system works is that in Avalon network, as Natalia was saying, about almost half of our alleys in the city of Los Angeles, or maybe about 30%, are here in the South LA because the soil is very good. So here we could actually capture the stormwater, infiltrate it, and the groundwater is deep, more than 100 feet in that area. So the infiltration rate is very good. And here we capture it, and then we have the dry wells and also the infiltration trench. Here we capture the pollutants that.
Let's see if we can show this.
We can show that.
Yeah, there we go. Is it showing up? So basically that you can see the before and after that there were these different colored pavements, and that in part is showing where those infiltration basins are. So underneath the different colored pavements, and we were, unfortunately I don't have it up on here right now, but it's so it's gravel underneath.
Exactly, it's gravel. It's about 5 feet of gravel,
right.
exactly.
So rather than what we saw earlier of water just sitting on top of the pavement and collecting all sorts of contaminants from just being under the pavement,
exactly.
it as soon as it hits the ground, it's able to sink in. You were telling me about the testing with a fire hydrant.
Exactly. One of our projects where it's right next to this, actually the Broadway project, where we actually took one of these dry wells and we put a fire hydrant about 4 and I think it was 5 inches of pipe, and we put in a dry well for an hour, and there was no standing water, so everything was just getting infiltrated instantly. I think the infiltration rate is between 5 to 10 inches per hour in this area.
That's
so
huge.
The infiltration is like almost sand. Infiltration rate is very good.
And that's the one shown here where in the back behind that you can see the kids out there. This is a basketball court next to a church, right?
Exactly. Yes. There's
or a parking lot that is used for kids to run around and play and do. Looks like they got some cones out there. They're doing laps out there. But so there's no construction. You guys have an agreement with the church that there's going to be no construction over that area. So
yes, exactly, over there. And then here we have a huge underground infiltration gallery. We use the storm trap system in this area where, again, we take the water coming from the storm drains into a CDS unit. We remove all the pollutants, the trash and all the pollutants from there. Then
is that the water that's collected from that area? That's going to the wetlands that we saw earlier?
And this is also for the Broadway. We have the same thing, but this is the infiltration. The wetlands, because there was a contaminated site, there's no infiltration. So we actually have a liner. We have to remove the contaminated soil. We put liner. Right. So here is just the wetlands. It goes through a treatment.
No, I meant from the other sites that they're taking
Yeah, exactly.
taken to the wetlands.
Yeah, to the wetlands, exactly. So we can take water from it. And here, of course, in the broadband, also the Avalon project where we have the water coming in. And one of the examples was that in January we had a rain event, had almost 2 inches of rainfall coming down in like several hours. The rain was so intense. And when we went out there taking the sample, the alley was basically filled with water. Then a couple hours later, after the storm stopped, all the water was infiltrated. So there was no standing water at all. And that was a very intense rainfall. Usually we get around half an inch to 0.75-inch rainfall in the city of, in the Southern California area.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing in this area is that when we talk about how little rain there is in a year, but when it rains, when you get these
the intensity has become
monsoons,
El
the
Nino. The El Nino was supposed to come.
Thank you.
And what happened was that I guess the intensity of the rainfall is getting worse and worse because before you used to get a rainfall coming down slowly for like 10, 20 hours. Now you get that 1 or 2 hours, big slug just pours in like 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
And of course, you get a lot of runoff. So and that's why the system we have, we work with TPL for the Avalon networks. We have a huge area of infiltration gallery. And at the end, anything that overruns, we put dry wells at the end of the alley. So we capture almost 100% of the runoff coming down, up to 0.75-inch of runoff.
Well,
in the alleys.
And that is so critical to understand that as let's see if we've got any questions that have come in. That as we have where there is rain coming in, to capture that rain, to clean the rain,
yes,
and to get it into the groundwater, so it's not just immediately rushing off into the river, into the ocean,
exactly,
and picking up contaminants along the way, but to be back there in the aquifer. Now, how much of the aquifer? So tell us a little bit something about the aquifer in the region.
Yeah, exactly. Here, the aquifer is not, because we have several agencies that remove the groundwater for drinking water. Here, we work with WRD, and they are basically
which is
the water
replenishment
district in South LA. So that's their district. So our district is like several miles north of this area that we're infiltrating, which is Water and Power, Department of Water and Power from the city of Los Angeles. So we actually partner with WRD for these projects where actually we are infiltrating.
And Albert Robles from WRD, we interviewed him for the Hispanic Water Leader series for Water Citizen News a while back. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So
we're definitely familiar with the folks at WRD.
Exactly, WRD.
Yeah.
And they're very good partners, and we work a lot of projects with them.
Yeah.
And basically, we're taking the stormwater, and people have to understand stormwater is not like wastewater. It is dirty, but it's not as dirty as wastewater. So if you take stormwater and you do like the CDS unit, you filter it, you remove the trash, the pollutants, and of course, if the groundwater is very deep, if it's more than 100 feet, that layer of 100 feet, by the time the water hits the groundwater, it's basically it's being filtered through that 100 feet media. Imagine 100 feet of media.
Right. So I mean that's the going through the soil, going through the gravel. That's one giant filter.
One giant filter. By the time it reaches the groundwater, is very clean. And we've actually done studies that basically sometimes there's some groundwater which are actually contaminated. So when you put stormwater there, it actually dilutes and it cleans up the groundwater. So it's actually a benefit for everybody.
Great. Well, I think we're getting close to wrapping up here. Natalia, did you have any parting thoughts on anything we didn't cover so far?
I think we've got the pretty general idea of the Avalon Alleys and the green infrastructure covered. So I think it was good. We feel it's important to bring the community involved into the project, so the more they understand what's being built around them and building something that they would use, the more successful these green infrastructure projects will be.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and come back here in the room. And Majid, you wanted to talk a little bit about...
I just wanted to show this. This is a map that is kind of, I don't know, it's hard to see, but it's kind of a map that shows all our green.
Let's see if we can get that up
Yes.
to the.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It shows kind of all our green infrastructure in the city of Los Angeles. These are just selected ones that we've done, hundreds of projects here, but these are some very key projects
Yeah.
we've done in the city. And basically, we're just trying to capture as much stormwater as possible in different locations. And some areas we could infiltrate, some areas we cannot infiltrate in the city because of the soil type.
And mapping, by the way, mapping for groundwater. As a hydrogeologist myself, in addition to an engineer,
Yes.
Knowing what's underground, knowing where we can infiltrate is having those
Yes.
mapping projects done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the key, and that's why we want to partner with a lot of NGOs in areas where we could actually infiltrate in the South LA and in the East Valley section of the city of Los Angeles. Those are the best places.
Very nice, very nice. And there was also, Stephen, before we go, just kind of the piece about the availability of funds for doing these projects in disadvantaged communities, as well as the benefit, all these additional benefits of jobs, of crime reduction, of this is an area that has had a lot of gang activity.
Right.
We did see tagging, we did see graffiti,
yes.
but it looks like it's not as much as it had been.
Right.
I don't know. So, what have there been any initial results that people are beginning to see? We did have folks come up and walk up to us and talk to us about the alleys and the difference from what it used to be like.
Right.
But tell us a little bit about the social aspects of and how how there are opportunities here for water districts to water utilities to work in some of these disadvantaged communities. What kind of funding is out there? What are advantages?
Well, as far as the engagement with the public, I think Natalia kind of hit on that. They've been engaged with the community in South LA for years before this project. Well, at the outset of this project. And I think my guess, I haven't really talked to her too much about it, but my guess is they were probably just like, what are you guys talking about when they first approached them? To now when they see the project going in, and now to their feeling, I guess, somewhat empowered in advocating for this project and other type of projects in their community. So I think that's a big change, and I think we feel that's one of the benefits that we hope to achieve, that where you get the community engaged in their neighborhoods. You're not just going home, locking the door, but you're actually out there and enjoying your neighborhood and engaging with other folks there. As far as funding opportunities, there are limits as far as what our budgets are. So as one of the things that we work with folks like Trust for Public Land and some of the other nonprofit organizations in the area is to look at opportunities for grant funding.
Okay.
So we work with the Trust for Public Land. Our resources are sometimes spread a little thin, and so they work with us. We work with them as far as putting together grant applications.
Right.
And
these are projects that you guys need to do anyway, somewhere in the region. So if rather than avoiding those areas, if there's a benefit in financial opportunities to actually focus on disadvantaged communities.
Well, yeah, and some of the way the grants, the guidelines are written is that you'll get extra, I guess, a little extra consideration if you're in a disadvantaged community or the amount of match funding that you as a city agency would have to provide towards a project is going to be reduced. So that makes it a little more easier for us to actually get projects, because we do have some funds available to provide match funding for grants, but again, there's limits on that. So if we can reduce that amount and have more grant money, all the better for us.
Fabulous. So it's fabulous for the city. It's fabulous for the residents. It's fabulous for the department and being able to meet their requirements of what to do for watershed protection. It's wonderful partnership example here with Trust for Public Lands, with the Water Quality Council.
Council for Watershed Health.
Thank you, Council for Watershed Health, and the Green Team, and the members of the community that are coming in. And by the way, I meant to ask, mentioned earlier some of the volunteer opportunities that I've been working with, with the Water Bearers and the Limitless Women, and working with Pachamama. Are there opportunities as well for people in not just in South LA, in the specifically in those neighborhoods, but throughout the LA area to get involved and do something in their own backyard.
Yes, definitely. There are examples where communities get involved and improve the green alleys, and then in Avalon we've had not just people that live in the community help out, but we've had people in the neighborhood adjacent to it, or other organizations come out and donate their time and volunteer to help us beautify these alleys.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. As I was also, I mentioned that that TPL has been involved with the Avalon alleys, before the way before it broke ground, but they're still continue to engage with the community. They like to mention the green team. They're still having alley cleanups, and still doing other plantings of trees and stuff in the area. So I think that's great that we have this continued presence, or that they have, and through TPL have a continued presence in the neighborhood. And still, try to keep growing that message. We've got how many schools, I think, in the direct vicinity of South LA wetlands and green alleys? We've got one high school, at least
One
a
high
couple
school,
elementary schools.
a couple of elementary schools.
Yep.
Yes.
So I don't know if Natalia wants to add a little bit to that about the work that they're continuing to do with the community.
Yes.
We work a lot with the schools nearby. The high school that you saw across the street from South Wetlands, there are 2 different schools on that campus, and they've been involved in the alley cleanup and helped with the mural paintings. And same with the Main Street Elementary. I mean, just yesterday we had an artist go out to the 4th graders and had a workshop where they helped design one of the murals that are happening in the alley that's being completed right now. And we've had the high schoolers involved in mural design as well as the green team. So we get all different ages and everyone from the community involved in these projects. And then that the 4th graders will come out later and help paint the murals as well, the ones that they've designed. And then that's where we've also had the education outreach on stormwater. We've done demonstrations in the alleys showing how the system works, how the water monitoring happens, opening up all the monitoring wells and the dry wells, showing what everything looks like underneath so people can fully understand how the process goes. And we've done that with the different ages and different groups. And then we've also gone into the classroom and done education classes on stormwater management so they can understand the importance of clean water and saving water. And this Avalon Alley is just the beginning of what we're doing. We're going to continue to partner with the city. We have 5 more alley networks that we've identified. We did an alley master plan for South Los Angeles, and so we have a total of 6 different network areas, and that's including the Avalon. So we'll be able to continue to do this work, and this is just a pilot demonstration. But then as soon as we become a norm, we're raising funding right now for 2 more networks near Avalon Alley, and so we'll continue to partner with the city and get more of these built.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. And these are the kinds of stories that Water Citizen Media Foundation really likes to bring to light. And anything we can do to help with videos and capturing some of these stories and getting this out to a broader audience, we're happy to be part of the conversation. We've followed similar projects, really trying to revitalize the Spanish community using stormwater features, especially in places like Cincinnati, like Portland, Oregon, number of places around the country. This is part of this whole utility of the future movement. There is good news in water, and we're happy to bring that to you. So I'm Dr. Kat Schreier, and you've been watching The Water Show. Every week we have a new show available at watercitizen.com/thewatershow, soon to be moved to thewatershow.org. And I want to thank Natalia, Carolyn from Trust for Public Lands. Thanks very much. And my guest here in City of LA offices, thank you for hosting us during our trip.
Very welcome.
And next week we'll be in Phoenix, and I'm hoping that we're going to connect with some of the folks. It's the start of Drinking Water Week, so we may go to the other end of the spectrum and like drink water. So soon, and Majid, thank you very much, and all our water citizens out there. Be sure to keep the conversation flowing. Put your comments, put your questions down below. We'll keep monitoring those, and folks here will have a chance to answer those, and You guys have a wonderful day.